Welcome to the audio walking tour of D&D villages, houses, and other things found in Dungeons and Dragons. This is brought to you by Knights of the Braille, a group of tabletop roleplay gaming enthusiasts who are low vision, blind, and or sighted. Bremen is a very quaint knucklehead trout fishing village located on the mouth of the Shangarn River and on the west bank of the Meyer-Duelden Lake. Boasting a total of 150 citizens, for what it lacks in creature comforts, Bremen definitely makes up for with its friendliness. With the reputation of being the sleepiest town in Icewind Dale, Bremen's oldest living citizen and town speaker, Volgar Shellscar, wishes that people would let him sleep every once in a while. While many consider it a sleepy little town, the citizens of Bremen would disagree whenever it comes springtime about its sleepiness, as each of its citizens fear for their lives due to the massive flooding risk from the snow and ice melt. One may wonder at who would want to live here in Bremen and why. The owner of the Buried Treasures Inn, Cora Malfoon, would say that it is her extreme nice and fact that she treats everyone like royalty and her delicious knucklehead trout stew that brings people to this wonderful little village. On the other hand, each of the owners of the 5 taverns located in the heart of Bremen would say that it is their ale and or mead that brings tourists, citizens, and visitors here to Bremen to sample their wares and declare them the victorious brother in the battle of superiority. As we enter Bremen here, the snow is falling gently, and the quaint little village is laid out before us. The Buried Treasures Inn is off to our right, and the walls are made of sturdy wood, well insulated from the wind and weather that is known to ravage Icewind Dale. Cora Malfoon has made sure that a porch is on the front of her establishment, and, boasting to some long ago success, has 3 fireplaces inside of her inn. These fireplaces send trickles of smoke up into the sky, showing both comfort and warmth here in this building, along with the delicious smells of cooking, coffee, tea, and the warmth of conversation inside. As we enter into the Buried Treasures Inn, a place where many adventurers go seeking their fortunes in treasure and or panning for gold along the banks of the river here. Conversation abounds within these walls, where people come to talk, to eat the delicious, realm-famous knucklehead trout stew, and to be treated like royalty from the owner and proprietor of the Buried Treasures Inn, Cora Malfoon herself. A middle-aged human woman, Cora Malfoon has a smile for everyone and goes far out of her way to make sure that everyone is treated like royalty, is happy with her service, and intends on coming back. Visitor, adventurer, or citizens alike are always welcome here in the Buried Treasures Inn, and may I recommend to you that you definitely try this stew, and with Cora as she is, ask if you can have some of her cinnamon raisin bread. While others say the stew is what to come back for, me personally, having tried the raisin bread, say that that is what keeps people coming back. Customers inside here sit at various little tables. It is quite quaint, with some log stools, some chairs, and a mismatch of all kinds of different furniture here. Makes it feel like home, which Cora is exactly what she is looking for. The smell of the fires and the smell of the cooking food hovers throughout the air, and Cora, true to her word in making everyone happy, will not allow any smoking inside of her restaurant, because she says that while she wants you to feel at home, she wants others to feel at home as well, and the smoke tends to make the knucklehead trout stew taste a little weird and we all know that since it is realm famous, everyone wants to keep Cora happy. As we step back out onto the porch of the buried treasures then, off to our right, we can see the semicircular courtyard where the five brothers have built their each individual taverns. The meal, as always, was delicious, and now we're heading to these taverns in order to sample the ale that each of them says is the best in the Forgotten Realms. Rumor has it that these brothers each wanted to create a tavern and run the business here to show that dwarven ale making is the best in the realms. However, due to normal coincidences and other things that happen, each of the brothers refused to work for the other and thus decided that since they could not get along, then they would compete. The brothers each built their own little tavern here in Bremen in a courtyard that is in the heart of the town. One will notice here as we approach this semicircular courtyard that none of the taverns are relatively close to one another. The closest that you get is the fact that they are in the same courtyard. Each tavern is approximately 50 feet away from the other and seems to boast their own individual quirkiness. As we approach here, we notice that each of the taverns are somewhat hastily built, although they do have a single smokestack which sends smoke curling into the sky. As we walk up, we come to the first of the 5 taverns, this one being called Stones. It is a hastily built little building with holes in the wall, some boards that have fallen down, shingles that have fell into the snow below, and some boards on the porch that definitely need to be nailed back down. The door appears to be hanging off of its hinges, but there are tendrils of smoke coming from the smokestack. As we enter into this building, we find a gruffy dwarf sitting at the back behind the bar with 2 patrons sitting inside talking to him. The fire is roaring in the fireplace, and as the dwarf looks at us, he nods and pulls out a tankard and begins to fill it with his own special brew. This tavern, being called Stones, belongs to the brother Quartz Bloodhammer, well renowned for his blood ale, a red ale that has a very cinnamony taste to it. Having tasted this, one has to warn anyone else that if you are not a fan of spice, then this ale is definitely not for you. The dwarves in here laughed as we choked on our ale here, as we were not prepared for it. The ale does have a slightly smoky taste, and as it is poured, tendrils of smoke will rise from the mug. Maelstrom is not one of the nicest people that we have come across, but the building allows him to say that he is a tavern owner. There are several holes in this tent structure, allowing the wind and snow to blow in. Instead of cleaning up the snow, Maelstrom uses it to help water down his particular brand of mead called the Snowdrift, in hopes of furthering it on along and allowing him to make more profit. As we sample this Snowdrift, we detect the hints of dirt, grime, and what appears to be a yellowish substance from the snow. Heading along in our circular motion, we come upon the Grumpy Moose, which is owned by the brother Magma Lava Rock. This appears to be one of the better built establishments of the brothers, with a huge moose head, complete with decaying flesh that, rumor has it, is replaced every 4 days on the front of the building. The Grumpy Moose is known for its ale called the Moosehead Ale, which is a very dark stout type of alcoholic beverage. The building seems to be a little more well built, with lesser holes than any of the previous establishments, although the insides of this building have not been cleaned in recent history. There are several broken chairs and tables inside of this establishment, with broken mugs and the smell of spilt ale, mead, blood, sweat, and other bodily fluids fill the air. There is a very thick layer of pipe smoke which appears to be coming from the brothers' pipe in back. As we travel around this semicircular courtyard here, the next tavern that we come to is the Evenklein. this tavern having the appearance of a ship, which in further inspection is actually the front of a ship that obviously was struck here from the docks. This particular brother, Adrian Limestone, enjoys a more oceanic flavor of mead, which appears blue and gold in color. It is known as the Sandy Beach, has a very nice citrus flavor, and thus far is one of our favorites, if not the favorite of the two that we have tasted so far. While this is the front of a ship, it does appear as though it was destroyed and tore in half by local legends, the Plesiosaurus. Rumor has it that this was once Iran's ship, called the SS Anchovy, and was torn in half by the Plesiosaurus, and his life having been spared, drug it here, and this is where he has chosen to make his tavern and inn. Perhaps the last establishment, known as the Black-Bearded Brother, is not the most well thought out and original name. A building built of what appears to be stones, rocks, broken bricks, twigs, and some half-burnt lumber, is owned and was built by Herman Blackbeard. The ale that he is most proud of and is known for is the Coffee Stirrer, a very, very dark, almost black in appearance kind of ale. This will not only walk to you, but it will talk and sing to you. While we jest, of course, this is a very thick ale that you can eat as well as drink if you are hearty enough. While there is no cold wind that will enter into your body should you drink this, the holes in the partitions of the walls allow plenty of air to enter in. Frost will accumulate on one's clothing and or hair if you stay in here very long and do not come near the fire. Boasting of a dirt and snow floor, it is howevertheless very clean, and of the five brothers, this is perhaps the strongest of the ales. Exiting here, we will now head to the town center, and where we will discover the legend or rumor of the Plesiosaurus. Each village and town, not to mention cities and settlements, have their local legend. Bremen is not alone in this, as the local legend here, as mentioned earlier with the brother ship tavern, is the Plesiosaurus, a rather large aquatic creature, not normally known for its aggressive nature, has turned into quite the animalistic, pardon the pun, beast of burden for this local settlement. At current recording of this walking tour, the Plesiosaurus has now been known to have destroyed over 100 ships, cost over 200 lives, and is given credit for more than its fair share of destruction and horror that takes over this settlement. While many are fearful of the Frost Maiden herself, the citizens of Bremen and those of the local towns that are near here, such as Targos, are very fearful of this aquatic monster. Rumor has it, because not many people have seen this beast and lived to tell about it, is that this creature or monster is squid-like in appearance, with the beak of a bird of the air. This creature's beak has been known to not only bite ships in half, but has been known to rip and tear the flesh from any fisherman who is brave enough or stupid enough to get into its domain, which is the lake here. While the knucklehead trout population has not diminished due to this creature, it appears that its favorite food is humanoid creatures that wander into its realm. The ship has been known to enter into this creature's habitat, and none of it return, with the ship and its crew going completely missing, and no more has been known or heard or seen from them since. The creature's hide is that of a dark grayish color, with suckers, pincers, and claws coming on each end of its 12 tentacles. Depending on the person that you talk to and the legend version, this creature can also perform magic spells, can talk, can fly, and some even say that the creature can transform into a humanoid creature and walk about on land, where it will bring in any of its victims to the lake's surface. We even came across one particular citizen of Bremen who states that the Plesiosaurus is in fact the Frost Maiden herself. While this rumor cannot be substantiated, we here at Knights of the Braille encourage you to do your own particular digging, research, and come up with your own conclusions of what the Plesiosaurus is. Are you an adventurer or a fisherman willing to risk the lake to face the Plesiosaurus? Can it talk to you? Are you willing to carry on a conversation? Are you brave enough to stand upon the mast of the ship and stare this creature down? Are you willing to stare into its black, beady eyes? Or are you of the opinion that this creature has diamond-shaped eyes? Again, another rumor is that this creature's eyes are made of a rare black diamond, that each gem, each eye, is worth over 1,000 gold pieces. Are you an adventurer risking life and limb and sanity to get one of the orbs? Or are you willing to just sit back and fish on a different lake or river? We thank you for joining us for this walking tour of Bremen. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications for each of these different videos. If you would like to have more of these Dungeons and Dragons walking tours, please be sure to comment or send an email to DALEJUNIORFAN83@gmail.com. You can also send requests to @RichardBean83 on Twitter. Be sure to check us out at www.knightsofthebraille.com.